For those of you that have already joined, we're just going to take a minute for everybody to get settled in. In the meantime, I'm going to clean and disinfect this exoskeleton. Just a few more seconds here and we'll get started. Okay, let's get started. Thank you all for joining us on another live demonstration here at Rhino Tool House University. We are taking COVID-19 seriously and are following the guidelines set by the state and local governments. We're also social distancing, staying 6 feet apart from one another. I do want to point out before we proceed on, there is a chat feature in Zoom. So please type in any questions you may have. And at the end of my presentation, we'll just do a quick Q&A to go over those. For those of you that are joining us for the first time, please know that we have uploaded those videos to YouTube. So please find us, Rhino Tool House, on YouTube, and you can go back and see those. So I am Emmanuel Verastegui, the material handling specialist here in the Ohio Valley region. Before I get started on this exoskeleton here, Laevo, which can reduce the lower back pain you might get or a sensation by 40% on that strain. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. So when I was younger in high school, I had a summer job and that was working with my dad. He was a brick mason, so he did a lot of contracting work. So while I was working, because I wasn't there year round, I was doing the grunt work. So mixing mortar in a mortar mixer or shoveling bricks from a pallet closer to the house to somebody else. So over time, or over a few summers, I ended up developing sciatic nerve pain. So every once in a while when I walked, I would just fold over and want to fall over. And how did that happen? I guess while I was doing this job, well, when throwing bricks close to the house, you get a stack of 3 or 4, and then you pick them up. And then the proper technique really is to use momentum in your legs to thrust that either forward or above, right? So after a while, after doing maybe a bundle or two, because this is 1,000 bricks per pallet. So maybe after a bundle or two, you're just very fatigued. So then you start doing it improperly. So when you pick up those 3 or 4 bricks, then you might just start using your back, which I did often, because I wanted to keep up with those that were working with my dad, because they were older, but they were able to do the job. And I felt young, strong, and that I should be able to do it. So I wish I had this whenever I was working the summer jobs, but I did not. So to get started at Rhino Tool House, our goal is to revolutionize your process. We cover over 30 states, actually, by bringing the most innovative solutions to your work environment. So we cover over 30 states, and why we partnered with Laevo is because they can meet the demand of those very labor-intensive jobs that are out there. So who is Laevo? So they got started in 2006 as a company known as IntelliSprings. And IntelliSprings actually developed, like most exoskeleton manufactured exoskeletons, for the military and healthcare facilities. So in 2009, they actually won a grant to make a specific device that targeted that lower back. So it was developed in 2013, and then they branched off as its own entity. So Laevo is the sister company to IntelliSpring, which is still doing those military applications. So many of you don't know, if you haven't been on one of these virtual tours, what an exoskeleton is. So an exoskeleton is an external soft or rigid device to give support and structure to and augment the human body. And today, this particular exoskeleton is called Laevo. And I just wanted to give a brief overview of its design. So this is one of the lightest out in the market. So it only weighs 6.5 pounds. The time it takes for donning and doffing is one of the quickest. So you could put it on once it's sized to your settings within 30 seconds or less, depending on how familiar you are with the product. There is different sizing structures. So we can still meet the 5th to 95th percentile body types. And there is 5 different torso steel tubes. It's from the extra small up to the extra large. They are color coded to tell you what size is who. I am a medium, so this one is colored blue. So I'll just go through the color coding real quick, starting from extra small, which is purple, yellow, blue, red, and then green for the largest structural size. So it fits a range of 5 foot even up to about 6'4" person. If you are outside of the realms or just built just a little slightly different, that the standard sizing doesn't work, there is a way for you to get a custom size spring. So and that one would take a longer lead time than normal, but we can still do that if you do fall out of those realms. So I'm gonna go over the components, but while I'm doing that, I'm actually gonna put on the device. So I have the chest plate here with the buckle, and that just clips on. The buckle itself, or the chest plate itself, has a Velcro with a gel padding, and that's just to make it a little more ergonomic there on the chest. So I'm gonna put that on first. Then I have the steel structure here, or the torso structure, that bends down and connects to my smart joint. So the smart joint is where that nitrogen-filled cartridge is located, and that's what provides that 5 to 7 kilograms of support. And then I also have an angle adjustment, so that ranges from 0 to 35 degrees, and then you can tweak that, and also my on and off function, which is lock or unlock, essentially. So I'm gonna put on the rest here. So I have my belt buckle, and then the hip plates that has the soft goods padding, and then the leg structure here with the pads, and then that is what gives me that support from my lower, or for my lower back. So for this, it's already on, so I'm gonna actually turn it off here. So first, whenever you first put on an exoskeleton, you actually want to make sure that you're not restricted in your movement. If you feel any pinching or just don't feel comfortable in it, there might be an incorrect setting, and we just have to tweak that to make it as comfortable as it can be, because if your employee isn't comfortable, they're not gonna wanna wear it. And then what applications is this good for? So warehouse and logistics, and and also manufacturing. So anything that has palletizing, kitting areas, or any lifting in a bent position, this is gonna be good for that because it provides that support to that lower back. So now I am gonna turn it on here, and sometimes when turning it on, you do have to rotate towards the side that you're trying to lock into place to make it a little easier while it's on you, unless it was already on when you did that. So I have a typical warehouse and logistics setup here. So I have a few boxes, they weigh a little differently. This one is our light guide system, weighs about 25 to 30 pounds. And actually, let me turn it back off, and I'm gonna do this without it. So right now, I actually am doing it properly, where I'm bending my legs to pick up this product. But in a high tactile environment, and I'm actually gonna put this back on because I don't wanna do it improperly while it is off. Okay, so now that I have it on, in a high tactile environment where you have to do this fairly quickly, you're not going to bend in the correct posture to pick up this that case. So again, if I'm reaching over and I'm trying to go fast, I'm just gonna do it as quickly as possible to get the material to where it needs to go. So this is providing that support to my lower back as I'm bending forward. I can adjust the angle depending on where I'm working. So if I have it from 0 to 19 degrees, I'm going to be working a little higher because this is activated sooner. Right now, I believe I have it on the 20. But so when I'm working up high, I do want it higher because then it's pushing me back a lot sooner. So then if I adjust it down to 35, that's going to be for picking applications where you're a lot lower, where you don't want to be straight upright like it's trying to get me to do right now. So you want to be a little more, be able to bend a little easier with that. And then the next thing I wanted to go is, does Laevo have any success stories? So they do, they have Worthington, which they manufacture gas tank cylinders, and they, in their application, those operators do have to do it improperly because they have to go so fast. And those gas tanks can weigh anywhere from 5 up to 15 pounds. L'Oreal, they also have bulk handling. So they're taking these bags and they're putting them into mixers and also from the ground. So a lot of the times we can fit a material handling solution inside that area. But there's sometimes, like I've seen a lot of paint lines at tier suppliers, but they actually have to reach down into a steel container, grab a 5 to 10 pound part, then hang it on hooks. And then they may have one in each hand to go a little quicker. But because of that steel container, they can't bend down properly to try to pick that up. So they always have to use their lower back. So I see those applications all the time. So how do you reduce that? It's by using an exoskeleton that provides that support for that lower back. Now we're going to move on to questions and Steven is supposed to.
All right, we have a question here. Approximately how much does it reduce the strain or pressure on the lower back?
So up to 40% reduction. That's going to depend on your body weight and your build size. So the nitrogen spring that's housed in here only provides 5 to 7 kilograms of support. So the more I weigh, the more I'm going to feel that support. I weigh about 180, and I can really feel it when I'm in the bent position.
Another question here, how do you keep the unit clean?
So the cleaning instructions for this one is a little bit different than like the ExoVest. This one, the soft, good components, they are removable. Also, the inner lining on the hip pad here is also removable, but it can't be machine washed. So you do have to spray it down with disinfectant like Lysol, which you saw me do in the beginning.
Question from Joe, is this intended to have a separate suit for everyone, or is it easy to change sizes to fit multiple people?
So this is set up for one size fit all on the main components, except the torso link here. So this one, I do want to, because it ranges 3 inches. So if I had the extra small, it would be from 5 foot to 5'3", and so on and so forth until you get to the extra large. So that's how you size different body types or body lengths. But right now with the COVID-19 that's going on, I'm not sure if sharing a device would be a good benefit. You might want to have the own structure for everybody, unless you had like an ozone cabinet that we can also provide, where you're putting them in, hanging them up, and getting disinfected that way.
A question from Jim, are the soft goods the only wear items?
No, so there is replacement components. So the links only last about 250 cycles or 3 years, whichever one comes first. And a cycle is every motion I go up and down. The nitrogen cartridge will also have to be replaced eventually, but the actual plates itself, those won't wear down. The buckle here, that should stay fairly long. A warranty is 12 months.
What is the life expectancy of the product?
So it was 250 cycles, and that was an up and down motion, or 3 years, whichever one comes first.
Will these accommodate larger people? It will for height, but what about forward girth?
Yes, so actually right now I had it so my belt wasn't so wide. So I have extended it out now, so it can accommodate a pretty large person, as well as the back straps here. I also have them locked down, but you can release it and extend it out as needed.
And just a clarification, Emmanuel, that was 250,000.
Sorry, 250,000 cycles.
Okay. And we will wait just a couple more seconds here if anybody has any last minute questions. Another question, he wants to know about the cost. Does it come in a kit with multiple bars, or are all those sold separately?
The bars are sold separately, so you would, once you bought a kit, it would come with one, but again, you can buy as many links as needed if you were going to share the device. And then what was the second part of the question?
Just a general overview on cost.
So right now we just partnered up with Laevo, so we're still working out that pricing structure because they are being imported in. So we just have to get that finalized, but we'll reach out to you with those costs.
Are there any different springs for different assistance forces?
No new springs. The only one is that 5 to 7 kilograms as of right now. I know down the pipeline there might be different ones.
What about demo units? Are those available?
So not yet. Leaf is still finalizing that as well, along with the pricing structure. This one here is a destructive test unit, so we can't actually put it on a line or on an operator to use. It's just more of a show and tell. So maybe in an office setting, we might be able to send this one down where you can kind of try it on. But we just got to make sure that it is disinfected, that our states or local governments are back open for business and one-on-one meetings, because this is very personalized. So there is a lot of close contact you have to make with somebody to kind of guide them on fitting.
Perfect. What is the cost of the cartridges?
Again, pricing, I am not sure. As of right now, it's still being finalized, but as soon as we have those prices, we'll get them out.
All right, that looks, nope, here's another question. Is there an approximate date when pricing will be available?
Unfortunately, no, I do not have that answer for you today, but we will reach out to everybody that joined us today and provide that.
All right, I think that is it, E. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Don't miss us tomorrow for another live virtual demonstration with the new knee chairless chair. Thank you. Stay safe.
And just before everybody drops off, Joe, it seems like the pricing will be available by next week, we're hearing. So we will get back to you with more information on that as soon as we get it. So thank you very much.